What's the most baddest thing you've done? Welcome to Reddify. Before we start with the video, be sure to like, share, subscribe and turn notification bell. I was pumping gas at a station with my sister, me being 19 at the time and her being 16, when a man, probably like 25 years old, got into the backseat of my car. I started to yell at him to get out of my car. My sister was shaking scared. He then pulled a gun on me and told me to get in the car and drive. Without even thinking, I started to make him question himself by saying, what? Are you going to shoot me right here in this well-lit gas station? There are other people around, did you really think this through? He started to look around, called me a stupid bitch, got out of the car and ran off. Edit, spelling. When I was 18, I was an EMT. My first emergency call, after we got the guy to the ER alive, the ER doctor looked at me and said, "Do you know what you did? You just saved that man's life." I'm 23 now, and EMS wasn't the career for me, but I still think about that moment a lot. What kind of training is required to be in working EMT? A semester-long class, CPR, pass a practical exam and a written exam. No college degree required. Overall pretty easy for most. Also pass FBI and child abuse background checks and be in generally good health. Just a warning that what Eulatius Erythobus described above is like less than 1% of calls, high intensity, good outcome. Depending on your area and system, that number can change, but not usually by much. You don't even need to be in good health if they are desperate enough. My cousin was fat as hell and got a job as one. The only problem is he kept getting fatter and eventually didn't fit in the back anymore. Didn't fit in the back of an ambulance? That is alarmingly large. I was young, probably 11. I had a kid try to tackle me from behind, and I flipped him over my shoulder. It was fucking dope. I did the same thing, but it was freshman year football. To be honest, I didn't even realize what happened. I think he just kinda ran into me, and I didn't budge. I was bent over, so I didn't even see him coming. When I was going through phase as an 8-year-old, I once got pissed off because a 5th grader cut me in line, so I jumped onto his back and clung on like a fucking monkey, but then he grabbed and flipped me over his head and I hit the ground hard. Naturally, I cried and said I did nothing wrong. My little brother did that once, and my ass went through the wall. It's fucking hilarious. Dude, I did this while playing King of the Hill on a pile of snow in like 3 RS grade. It sure is a dope moment. Yeah, we love beating kids. Pulled someone out of an overturned burning car while pregnant. Wait, was the person you pulled out of the car pregnant? Or were you pregnant? Either way, congratulations, you are a badass. No man, I think the car was pregnant. Well, clearly, you can't pull a person out of a non-pregnant car. But when you do, is the car still pregnant? Not my most badass moment, but once in 3rd grade, we were playing dodgeball with those iconic red rubber balls. And my 2 friends happened to be on the other team that day, and well, I had a ball. Did it one of my friends, cracked him straight in the face, the ball bounced off, only to hit my other friend right in his face. I got a collateral headshot in dodgeball. By far my favorite elementary school moment. You would have been out twice if you'd done that at my school. Probably still worth it. They were friends, after all. Guy pulled a knife on me when I was a bit tipsy and waiting for a bus and demanded my wallet. Without thinking, I hit him in the jaw and knocked him out cold. Stole his knife and walked away. Still have the knife somewhere around here. Achievement unlocked, switchblade. Good one. You keep thinking that, but then you realize this guy started the poop knife meme. I chased a man down at the mall who had stolen a woman's purse. Tackled him and restrained him until security showed up. Then went to Cinnabon and treated myself. I ate the Cinnabon in one bite. It was the most baddest thing I've ever done to date. Damn, I wish I could eat a Cinnabon in one bite, the only thing I got out of this. Well, like, what did he get at Cinnabon? What if he got, wait, everything at Cinnabon is giant, you're right, what a lad. I was sitting in a chair and I threw a gummy bear up and hit a really high ceiling, and I caught it in my mouth without moving uncomfortably to catch it. That's where I peaked Timo. Good one. I have a similar story. My friend was throwing a cookie to another friend about 8 feet away. I dove between them and intercepted the cookie with my mouth, which was crazy because it was not small, and it rotated perfectly in the air to dock with my mouth. No cookie ever tasted so much like victory. That's incredible. The real Cookie Monster. I was on a tall rock at a beach, and I pretended to waterbend a giant wave right as a big wave crashed at the base of my rock, and the water rose like 20 feet in the air in front of me. Felt pretty cool. I was at a small local concert that was being held in a park. It was a bunch of metal and thrash bands, mostly local acts, but a few touring bands. The gazebo where we were playing was on a small island in a lake, with the only access being a bridge that led to the parking lot. The event organizers had a couple of people stationed on the bridge to take tickets. It was a pretty cool setup to just be available for us to rent out. Everyone was being pretty chill and enjoying the show. There was a mosh pit with a few guys, but there was plenty of room. Then this group of idiots shows up. 70% of this crowd is underage, but these guys show up drunk and with more beer and immediately start causing trouble. They are asked to leave and told the cops are being contacted. Tensions are high, yelling and cussing all over, but hey, they are leaving now. Maybe we can go back to enjoying ourselves. One of the organizers walked behind them while she was escorting them out, phone in hand. Just as they reached the bridge, this guy turned around and slapped the crap out of her. I saw red. The stage was about 50 meters from the bridge, and I broke into a sprint heading for this guy, ready to whoop his ass. I'm halfway there. All 5 of these guys turn and run. I'm a big guy, but still, I didn't expect all 5 to run. I get to the chick that got slapped and I stop running. She is safe, and I'm feeling like a badass for chazzing these guys off. Then I turned to see that all of the no less than 200 people at the show saw the same thing I did and were right behind me, ready to stomp these guys onto the ground. So, I didn't chase them off myself, but I basically led a battle charge. Once I threw a pencil into about a 4-hole in a wall, some 15 feet high from 30 feet away, first try. A while back I looked outside my house to see the sky was overcast, so I lifted up my hands and snapped my fingers, and lightning flashed right in front of my house. I felt hella badass after that moment, and recently I thought back to that moment and decided to snap my fingers again, and then a power surge or a short outage took place in my house. This was late in the night BTW. One day I will learn to master this power I have over electricity and exploit it for my own lazy benefits. I did pretty much the opposite once. My buddy has a house and a boat on Lake Lure in North Carolina, and one night we were out on the water super late, and we had been drinking pretty much all day. I was making some impromptu impassioned speech about God knows what, and I slapped my hand down on the windshield of the boat right as I made my final point. It just so happened that at that exact same moment all of the lights around the entire lake shut off. Instant pitch black except the stars, but it was pretty damn cloudy that night, so not much light at all. I thought I broke something in my buddies and I freaked out for a bit until my friend who owns the boat called the power company, only to find out they just had a mandatory maintenance shut off for a few hours. Kinda lame, but it was fun docking the boat by iPhone flashlight alone though. Patched my leaking tire with a toothpick. That's smart. Got an inflatable kayak flipped somewhere between class 3 and 4 rapids on the Colorado River. Was drugged down about 10 to 12 feet, came up under the kayak, had to get out from under it in the rapids. Gathered all my gear back in the water and didn't even lose the sunglasses off my face somehow. Also found out a kid died in that same spot a week prior. I think you might have been that kid. Or the dead kid's ghost helped him out, we'll never know. I used to get in a lot of fights in middle high school. I'm not really proud of any of them, and I lost almost all of them, But there is this one I'm really proud of. We were at some dumbest 4th of July party that we thought was super cool at the time. It was at some rich kid's house on a big hill, so there was a steep drop at the edge of the yard. These kids started pushing my friend, saying he owed them money. To my knowledge, he had no idea who they were. He seemed like he was handling himself, so I turned around, probably to talk to some girl who had absolutely zero interest in me. Next thing I know, two of these kids have my friend by each arm, while one of them is punching him in the stomach. I grabbed Punchy in a chokehold and threw him down the hill. The rest of the fight basically consisted of shouting and some light pushing, chest bumping, while his friends went down to help him up the hill. He was fine, but he didn't bother us after that. I'm not a strong guy and I don't promote violence, but what can I say, it's a fun story, and I was defending my buddy. Did you get the girl? Yes, and they rode out on a white horse while everybody clapped, and the mayor gave him the keys to the city. Saved both of my kids from drowning. My dad saved me from drowning in a riptide when I was about 5. I thought he was badass 'cause of it. My mom and dad one time took me to the pool at the hotel we were staying at, visiting relative, and I was sitting in a chair by the edge and flipped over into the water and hit my head. My dad jumped in and literally tossed me into my mom's arms. I was 3. Long story short, 2 guys tried to make my friend kill himself, and he tired to end it right there. I stopped him and beat the living daylights out of the 2 guys. Can we get the long story long? Could you please tell us the full story? As long as it isn't too personal for you. He haven't posted the whole story. LMAO.